Hey, good morning, girls. Great to have you out here with me. It is cold. Uh, Seriously, may have to look at setting up a space inside the house. The mornings are a little chilly out here. But great to have you out today. Excited about another topic today because I've been getting asked questions about why Christians are successful and why, it's so different, and a lot of whys, kind of like that 2-year-old that always says why, which I'm one of them. I admit it. I ask why a lot on a lot of things. So what we want to talk about today is that when we look at what God has called us to do, and we tend to, hold back, be reserved about it, a lot of times we're holding back because there's fear around it. We're unsure. There's doubt. Am I good enough to do this? Do I have enough to do this? That whole concept that the world tends to tell us that we're not enough and that we can't do. And what God tells us is through Him, meaning when He says through Him, it means that you have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. All things are possible. Not some things, all things, girls. And that's what we need to remember when God calls us into, sorry, we have a couple of hawks hanging out. A couple of folks have mentioned I'm not sure we can get this done. I'm challenged. It's bigger than I want to do. It's a step in the unknown. I'm having to trust God. And yes to all of that. But that's what's amazing about this journey as Christians and as women of God. We get to take steps in our faith that possibly in the world we wouldn't do. And if we did, we might not succeed because, according to the Word, it's through Christ all things are possible. And again, let's go back there because I kind of skirted that one real quick. When the Word says through Christ or in Christ or seeking God first, that means we have a relationship with Jesus. So if you don't believe that Jesus is your Lord and Savior, and you're trying to have all things possible through Him, you can't do that. You see, we have to be in a relationship with Jesus in order for His promises and His Word to be true in our life. Now, the other thing about that, too, is we can't pick and choose what verses we want to live by. And there's a lot of teaching out there that takes certain topics only and says, well, that was for then and this is for now. And you can't do that. You see, if the Bible is clear in what it says, and if you believe in God, means you believe the Bible is the truth, then it's the whole truth. So it's not picked apart. You don't pick out the verses that make you feel good, all the time. You don't avoid the ones that might be convicting you in something that you're involved with that possibly you shouldn't be. So we've got to take it as a whole. But let's take a look at our verse today because I want to kind of bring it all together in context. In Matthew 19:26, excuse me, chapter 19, verse 26, it says here, Jesus looked at them and said to them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. And again, He doesn't say some things, He says all things. That means it's all-encompassing. That means it's everything. So whatever God has called you to do and moved you out to, you definitely can move through that. It is possible. So is God calling you to step into ministry and you're feeling like you're not equipped, you're not enough, whatever your thoughts may be? Girls, God says with Him it's possible. All things. If He's called you, He will equip you. And it may not make any sense when He's equipping you. You're like, how the heck am I going to pull this one off? Because see, girls, God shows me visions. I see a whole picture. And then He says, now, my dear Robin, we'll step one step at a time. See, he doesn't give me the whole picture at the same time, because then I don't need him. And I'll try to do it on my own, and I will fail. But if he gives me one step at a time and shows me, Robin, now step here, now step here, then I can succeed. And it is possible. But it all comes back to, with God, all things are possible. So if you're trying to do it on your own, yes, it might be an impossible task. However, if you are in Jesus Christ, you know him as your personal Lord and Savior, you are connected to him, you are building a relationship with him, then all things are possible. Because see, it's kind of like a marriage, girls. If we get married and we never communicate, we never work on that relationship, they end up broken. And the same thing happens as a believer. We have to be building that relationship, girls. We can't just say, oh, okay, I accept Jesus, and then go about your life the way you were. Girls, we've got to plug in. We've got to grow. God did not call us to let us just sit on the shelf and rot. Girls, God called you to be a mighty vessel for the kingdom of God, reaching other people. Now, it's not going to be comfortable all the time, but it says, according to Matthew 19:26, with God all things are possible. So what is it you're trying to accomplish? What is it God is pulling on your heart? What are you afraid of and afraid to step into and be obedient to what he's called you to do? Girls, release the fear. God's got this. As long as you're in him. So how are you building your relationship with him? How are you nurturing that relationship? Are you in the Word on a regular basis, daily? Are you in prayer? Sorry, we're chasing wildlife. Are you in prayer? Are you worship? Are you in fellowship? You know, another great thing is, do you attend a Bible teaching church? Because girls, we've got to be fed. Because see what happens, you know, in my coffee cup here, if I was to pour my coffee this morning, and then I drank it down, and then I just came out tomorrow and went, there's no coffee. Why is my cup empty? Well, because I didn't take the steps to fill it up. I did not clean out the filter. I didn't put the coffee in, didn't push the button. So it requires us taking action in what we believe. It requires us nurturing this relationship with Jesus. Just like we need to nurture the relationship with our husbands, with our children, with our friends. You know, we can't just be all about me and shut everything else out and expect to have everything flow the way it should. But girls, let's go back. With God, all things are possible. What do you want to accomplish? What is God pulling on your heart about? Have you been afraid to step forward? Is God in the middle? So these are some questions we need to ask ourselves every time we're out there. Are we just doing something because we're supposed to be doing it? And a lot of that comes in service in the church. We get about these routines, but it's not where God's called us, and therefore we're missing out. And if we're not seeking God on a daily basis, we can't possibly know what God wants us to do. We all say we want to thrive as women, but yet we're not willing to take the action to make that possible to thrive. We say we want to succeed in our marriages, in our families, in our businesses, in our jobs, but we're doing nothing to nourish that. And then we sit down and then we complain that why isn't my life like their life? Why isn't God blessing me? Girls, we go back to the basics. Put God in first. Seek Him first. Build that relationship with Him. And God takes care of the rest. We just have our nature as a human being to want to take control of it and make it happen. And in many times we hit the walls. Because with man, most of what we do is impossible. If I look at my day and I look at what I have going on in my life, and if I didn't have God in it, there is no way possible to get it done. No way. Does that mean I'm perfect and every day I'm doing what I'm supposed to do? I'm in the Word, I'm doing worship. No, I miss days. But I know doing the morning minutes for you guys is really helping me focus and be more laser. I know teaching is helping me be more focused and laser. And it's funny because I sit there and I look at the responses and how it's touching lives. Girls, if you only knew how much it changes mine. Every time I have this topic or have a topic for you and I sit here and talk about it, I have to live it. I don't just talk this stuff. A lot of people out there, a lot of coaches, let's use that for an example, business coaches, they talk a talk, but they don't walk the walk. They sit there and they tell you, oh, we're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Ooh, I make $100,000 a month. And they're broke. You know, we need to be living what we're speaking to the best of our ability. I can't sit here and tell you that you need to build your relationship with Jesus Christ if I'm not building mine. And it's an ongoing process. Girls, we don't get to that point where, ooh, I'm rock solid with Jesus. Yeah. Until we're in His presence in heaven. So, what are you doing to build that relationship with Jesus so that Matthew 19:26 becomes a reality for you? With God, all things are possible. Everything I put my hands to is possible if it's in God's will and God is in the middle. See, because if I try to do stuff on my own, I will hit a wall. I will get frustrated. I will get irritated. And I most likely will quit. It's a tough topic. Because most of us don't want to be told that we're not putting God first. We want to be putting God first. I believe in our hearts. I believe we really do. But our mind gets so preoccupied and busy with the things of this world, the things of our life, that we don't stop and pause. And it's critical for you to grow as a woman of God, to stop and pause. If you want to thrive as a woman of God, you have to be in action. See, girls, you can't just sit on the sofa with, and this is, we laughed when somebody I knew would sit there and say, oh, I need a new job. And I'm like, well, what are you doing to get it? Well, I'm hanging out the house and waiting for the calls to come in. Okay, well, unfortunately, sitting on the sofa with remote control and bonbons is not going to bring that job. But the same thing with your walk with Jesus. You are not going to grow as a woman of God if you're so busy with everything else that you don't want to stop. Or you don't feel you can stop in the middle of the day to put God first. Or at the beginning of the day. Of course, we're not talking hours at a time. If we want to live on this promise that God says in Matthew 19:26, with God all things are possible. If you want that in your life, you have to put God first. You have to believe in Jesus Christ. You have to be saved. Because the promises in the Bible are not for the non-believer. The promises in the Bible are for the people of God. Those that choose Him. And I know some people may be saying, well, why should we get a freedom of choice then if we have to do this? Well, you don't have to. You can live by the world's standards. You can enjoy what the world has for you. Or you can choose Jesus and love your life and thrive. See, because God gave us the freedom of choice, a free will. We can pick him or we can choose not to pick him. It's up to us. He is a gentleman. He knocks at the door. If you don't open the door, then, maybe he'll knock again. But the challenge is, why would we want to play with that? Especially in these days. Girls, why would we want to choose what the world has over what Jesus has for us? What God has given us through the blood of Jesus Christ on the cross. Why would we choose the world? I know some people say, oh, because Robin, accepting Christ means I have to give up all this stuff. And it's too restricting. No, it's really not. Accepting Jesus as your Lord and Savior is actually freedom. Those chains of bondage are released. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to work for it. All you have to do is believe. Receive Jesus Christ with your mouth and believe in your heart. It's real simple. He made it simple for us because sometimes we all need to slow it down and simplify it. But girls, in order for these promises, and when God says all things are possible with him, you have to have him in your life. He has to be in the forefront. Where is God in your everyday routine? Do you start with him in the morning? Do you take a mid-break with him? Do you talk to him all day long? Do you go to bed talking to him, reading? Are you in fellowship somewhere? Or are you trying to be an island in this wicked world? It's a lot of choices we have to make. But I'm going to tell you this. If you can commit to every morning 5 minutes with Jesus, your life will change. Your heart will change. You'll find joy in your day. You'll have more peace. You'll have more time. And that relationship will grow so that when we look at Matthew 19:26, with God all things are possible. Everything you go out to do, God is with you doing it. We just have to ask him for the help. See, I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit stubborn sometimes. A lot. Depends on who you ask. Yes, Greg, I'm quite stubborn. But, there comes a point where I realize that I need to let go of it and let God control it. I need to not be so concerned about what's going on outside my doors. I need to be concerned where my heart is. And that comes through time with him. That comes with reading the Word. That comes through worship. That comes through prayer. And it comes through just quiet time. So girls, I want you to know that yes, all things are possible. When the question was posted this morning, what is possible? All things are possible for those who are in Christ. So where are you at today? How is your relationship with Jesus? Do you know him as your personal Lord and Savior? If you don't, I want to pray for you that you do find him. And if you do know him, I want to pray for you that you'll make sure you find the time every morning to give him 5 minutes of your day. Girls, we get 24 hours in a day. What is 5 minutes to Jesus? Now we could take it to, we're supposed to give him the first fruits, 10% of the first fruits. So if we want to be all mathematical, that's the word, then we could sit there and say, okay, what is 10% of 24? That'd be out of 24, 2 hours and 40 minutes. And, so no, just start with 5 minutes. Girls, sometimes that's all I have to give. But if I'm faithful to do that, if I'm faithful to stop and come out here, and I'm going to have to set me up a space in the house that's a nice little private secret space because I can't feel my fingers right now. But seriously, girls, all things are possible through Jesus Christ. But you have to know him to make it possible. If we can pray for you in any way, let me know. Definitely, if you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, It needs to be done openly. You need to be sharing that with someone so that they can pray for you, they can encourage you, and then get yourself plugged into some good Bible teaching fellowship. Okay? So I'm praying for y'all. And I know whatever it is that your heart is set on, that you feel you're called to do, that God can honor that, and it is possible. And you can thrive as a woman of God. Because remember, I believe that as women of God, we are meant to thrive, not just survive. All right? So it's all you now. Have an amazing day. See what God shows you today. And then get out there and thrive. Okay? Love y'all. Bye-bye.